Well, hello and welcome to the show. I'm glad you've joined us this week. We're talking about motivation this week. I've got with me here Hercules. He's a 6-year-old Frisian horse, and he's a little bit on the lazy side. That's not normal for Frisian horses, but he's kind of that way. We're going to deal with that coming up right here on Discovering the Horseman Within.
Gonna take a ride on one true horse.
So you see me standing here with a little dressage whip in my hand, and I'm on the ground. This horse is broke to ride. He's got 1,000,000 miles of trail riding. However, every now and then when you're out on the trail, he chooses when and where he'll take his break. And they've worked with that a lot over the last few years. They've got him now to where if they squeeze or kick a little bit, he will kind of move on, but he's still willing to stop and willing to challenge your legs a little bit. You've also heard me say a stitch in time saves 9. I want to start on the ground with this horse. As much for your exercises at home as for my benefit. This horse is pretty quiet and gentle. I could get on him and just go to work. But I want to show you a step-by-step process where we're going to work on motivating him. And you know what? The big thing about motivation is you have to know there's a reward at the other end of it. If you don't feel the reward, then you don't have the desire to do the work. So I took my spurs off. Spurs are for specific cues, not forward movement. In my opinion, when I want my horse to move, I bite him on the butt. That's what another horse would do to him. So I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to take a hold of this rein right here in my hand and take my little dressage whip and ask him to move. And he moved off way easy, which tells me he knows exactly what I'm holding in my hand. Well, I don't want to ride with this my whole life, right? I want to get away from it. So this time when I come back here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the whip down by my side, and I'm going to kiss to him and ask him to walk off. And then I'm going to spank him. No major warning, right? The warning was the kissing to him. I kissed to him, he should have moved. I want to get away from this stick. I don't want it with me the rest of my life. So I'm going to come back over here. Now, anticipation, he says, hey, look, I know if you get back here beside me, you're very likely going to spank my butt, so I'm not letting you get back here. He's got his ears pinned. The owner told me that Hercules can be a little snarky, and he can be just a little crabby, and I'm all right with that. It doesn't really bother me because I'm going to deal with it as it happens. Kissed to him that time, he moved. Now he didn't move forward, he just moved. Keep a singleness of purpose in mind. I didn't ask him to move forward, I asked him to move. Would I like him to go forward? Well, of course I would, but to start with, I just want him to move. It's that simple. Now he's going to get a double one on that one because when I spanked him and he didn't move, he fired both back feet out. So he gets the second one to drive him forward, not for kicking. He got it to drive him forward. He doesn't want the second one. He's going to learn to get forward before the first one. Okay? But I don't like the kicking. But this horse is a lot bigger than me, a lot stronger than me, and I don't really feel like starting a fight I can't win. So I'm not going to come at him and attempt to chastise him. I'm just going to tell him, move your feet. I'm not getting in a fight. Move your feet. I didn't ask your opinion. Move your feet. Okay, I want to keep it that simple. So, there, forward he goes. All right? Forward he goes. And that's what I want to see right there. And if I pick that whip up and he's not moving fast enough, now you notice he's got a little bit of his ears pinned here. I'm not big on that. That's him telling me how much he dislikes what we're doing. Good, but I like that. I like seeing those feet move, and right there, those ears came forward, so I'll release him. Now they went right back again. He wants to make sure I know he's unhappy with this situation. Want to move those feet out. You just don't naturally see, or normally see, lazy Frisians. Pick that whip up. He's got lots of the Frisian extension and lots of the movement. He's just a little bit pushy. No, and his way of being pushy is to say, don't push on me. If you push on me, you're going to get in trouble. So I feel pretty confident now from the ground that I can take him from a standstill right into a trot. All right, and as long as he'll do that, then I'm ready to get on his back, because he's learned to move away from the whip without me having to use the whip, okay? So, again, this horse has lots and lots of miles of trails. He's had lots of good training. Now he's walking right off. That may be as much out of nervousness, he's not sure what's coming next, as anything else. You may not see the laziness show back up for a few minutes, because in this horse's mind, he just got corrected fairly assertively for not moving. So now he's saying, hey, I'm not gonna get lazy again for a few minutes. So what I wanna do is just take a couple of minutes to work on exercises that are what I would call mind-numbingly dull, right? We're just gonna go along here and I'll offer him the chance to soften up, move his feet, and what I'm doing basically is the same thing that maybe your 7th grade history teacher did when they spoke in a monotone voice. And so that's kind of what I'm attempting to do here. Not kick with my legs, not anything, but ride old Hercules around here in mind-numbing exercises, because I want to set him up to fall back into a bad habit. And if he will fall back into that bad habit, then I can correct him again and show him, hey, don't do that. While he's doing good, there's nothing wrong with me rewarding on him a little bit. I mean, I don't need to get in a fight with him. If he's doing well, that's good. Right here, I'm going to pick up the rein and just ask him to trot. Now I've got the whip in my hand and I am going to use it. And that's what I want to see. I didn't have to use the whip. And right there, he says, hey, Ken, I don't trot forever. Now, I'll go ahead and stop him. What I'm going to do is say, all right, Skippy, here's the deal. You don't have to trot forever. I'm going to stop you. But from here on out, if you stop without my permission, I'm going to speed you up. Now, we're going to go all the way up to lope. Right? I want to have good movement out of this horse. So right here, there we go, we trot off. And you can hear him kind of grunting and groaning. I'm going to go ahead and stop him. Why? I got quite a lot. He went 2/3 of the way around the round pen, didn't give me any trouble. So I want to just go ahead and tell him, hey, good job. You're doing fantastic. Right? Now, lift him again. Watch my feet. I'm not kicking him. He was a little slower actually coming into the trot that time. And right here I feel him kind of wanting to slow down, so I'm going to kiss to him and ask him to speed up. There we go. Put some life back into that trot and slow down. Each time that I work a horse like this, what I figure is the more we can get away from the bad habit, the more days we spend away from the bad habit, the more solid he becomes in the good habit. And that's what I want him to do. I want him to get solid in the good habit. Trot off nicely. Now you look at the size of my circle. It's about a 15-foot circle. Hercules is not interested in going anywhere. So we're going to start working on that, stretching him out, picking out bigger circles and speeding up. That's coming up right after this. Okay, so our goal in this session is to get rid of the whip, get more movement, bigger movement, and adjust the attitude with which we're moving. And that's one of the things that I think is critical. Sometimes people don't realize when you're dealing with a lazy horse, if you let him go on being crabby about it, he's going to go right back to being lazy as soon as he can. So I want to start working on that attitude. We're going to ask from a standstill to walk and then trot. Right here, I want to see those ears come up. I want this horse to actually start thinking forward. And so I want to change how I'm riding. I want to get excited about where we're going. I want to start acting like, hey, let's go someplace. There we go. Good. Let's lope around here. Good. I'm going to bring him to a stop. His ears are up. His attitude's better. I like that. So I'm going to get rid of my whip, get rid of my enforcer, and we're going to keep working on motivation and attitude. Now, again, the motivation has to come from you. A huge piece of it does. I always envision on a lazy horse riding that same lazy horse in the Kentucky Derby. And I guarantee you that if I had the chance to ride a horse in the Kentucky Derby for several $1 million in a purse, I would ask that horse for as much forward movement as it could possibly give me, right? So I'm not going to ask this horse to bolt around the pen, but I want that same emotion inside of me so that that horse starts learning to travel. So let's ask him to pick up from a walk to a trot. There's a little bit of that attitude, nothing very critical, just kind of a good crow hop there, where he just says, you know, I don't like forward movement. He kind of rejects the idea. And right here, acting like if you push me, I'll do it again. Well, I kind of refuse to be held hostage. I like this horse. I want to see that attitude there. Those ears come up. Just shut him down. Let him know, hey, it's all right. You know, when he gives you that first jump, most of us are going to go, oh man, the mistake you would make would be to stop him. Don't stop him. Pull him up so he can't do anything stupid, but keep his feet moving. Stopping him is exactly what he wants. He's threatening, and he's acting a bit like a spoiled child and saying, if I don't get my way, I'm going to throw a fit. So what I do is I push through that and say, no, you can't, disengage your hindquarters, you can't buck, but now keep your feet moving until your ears come forward. Okay, we're going to ask again. Trot it off nicely. Let's lope. Good. Let's move along here. And I'm racing in the Kentucky Derby right there. Those ears came up. And I'll release him. The minute his ears pop up and his attitude changes and he says, I'm willing, I tell him, hey, that's enough, right? You don't have to go forever. What you have to do is change your thought. Release is the biggest motivator you have. When you're talking about your horse and you're trying to motivate him, what teaches your horse is not pressure. In fact, no amount of pressure teaches your horse. Pressure motivates your horse for sure, but it motivates him to seek a release. Release is what actually teaches him. Release is what actually makes the change. So as soon as I see those ears make a change, as soon as I see this horse trying, I release him. Those ears are forward right there. Already he's starting to say, hey, this guy's all right, we're going someplace. We might actually go win the Kentucky Derby. And he's starting to get a little more excited about it. I haven't kicked him yet, right? Now I would, but I haven't been needing to. I gave him that whack on the ground, and he got the idea when this guy kisses, I need to move. Consistency is so important, especially with a lazy horse. More with a lazy horse than probably any other horse. Let's ask him to lope. There's that kind of high first stride where he's kind of rejecting the idea. Driving forward. There, the ears are up. Driving forward. Hey. There, right there, and we'll stop. We didn't stop the first time the ears came up because we need to build. I can't just reward him every time he has one good thought. I have to reward him the first time he has a good thought, but eventually I've got to build a habit of good thought. I've got to start saying, no, you need to stay motivated, you need to stay excited, and my breaks can get shorter. Let's go get that Kentucky Derby Cup, right? Maybe we're working on the Triple Crown. Let's bring those ears up, there. Those ears come up, movement comes down. Soon as his attitude changes, that's enough for me. I don't have to have, and you'll get in trouble if you keep asking for more. Eventually your horse is going to come back to a point where he says, hey, this stinks. I can't win for losing. I tried moving and all they're doing is pushing me further and further and further. I'm just going to sull up and quit. So with a horse like this, or any horse that gets a little sullen, you always want to quit early and often so that the horse gets that release. And what's happening now is old Hercules doesn't even really want to stand still. Hercules is saying, I'll move because I don't want that whack on the butt, so I'm going to stay moving. So I need to come back and tell him, hey, no, it's okay. Take a minute, rest, right? Now this horse isn't all that lazy. When we start out to find horses for TV shows, it's amazing to me that we don't find the worst of them. It's just what comes up we use. Certainly you could have lazier horses, but he does have enough attitude to show you what you're dealing with. And attitude is critical. In my opinion, attitude is everything. I think more people have problems with attitude than they do movement, by far. All right, so we're gonna go from the standstill to a walk, without my legs, to the trot. Just kiss to him, and lope. Kick, right there. When I kick like I mean it. I don't bump, I kick. I bring my legs out and I try to touch my heels together. I want him to get the idea, let's move. I don't want to kick you. So I'm gonna kick you once. There, the ears came forward. Good. Ooh. Those ears are coming forward quite a bit more. Now, don't mistake a horse whose ears are back listening to you for one who's got his ears pinned in anger. If you watch this horse, a lot of times his ears are flicking back and forth. That's okay. We're not seeing the stuff where when I first got on him or when I was on the ground and his ears were pinned back and he was really angry. We're not seeing as much of that anymore. And there we went to a lope with a kiss. He moved off. We're excited, ears forward. Let's speed up. Let's go get that Kentucky Derby. Come on. Let's work on the Triple Crown. Right, there we go. And this horse is saying, Ken, you don't realize my breeding does not lend to the Triple Crown. That's okay. Your breeding is actually that of a very forward type horse. Your breeding is actually that of a horse with a lot of extension, a lot of self-carriage. What we've got to do is take your personal nature and change it a little bit. Without kicking him, we're loping off. Good. Come around there, let's speed up, come on. Let's go. Let's get out there and have a good time. Watch those ears, bring those ears forward. There we go. When those ears come forward, that's what I'm worried about. As a rider, I think it's critical that we watch the whole picture, that we see every part of it, that we're aware of the whole thing. I don't want to be a passenger. I want you to be a rider. I want you to observe every piece of what he's doing. I want you to watch his attitude and ask him to change it. Him pinning his ears is like a 7th grade kid on the street corner flipping you off. It's rude and it's not allowable, right? It's time that you say, no, 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 you can't do that. I'm not getting mad at him. I'm just telling him that won't work. But the biggest thing I've done is lead by example. I change my attitude. I say, hey, let's go win the Kentucky Derby. Come on, let's get, I get excited. And when I get excited, my basic energy level comes up. This isn't the Force, right? I'm not talking Star Wars here. I'm talking my actual sugar-fueled energy level comes up. I get excited and the horse's energy level comes up and he goes, oh, hey, let's go, we can do it. And that makes a huge change in my horse. Motivation can be stated as that inner push that's inside of a person that drives them on to rise above all of those around them. Motivation is something that you know, occasionally you'll talk to people and they say, you either have it or you don't have it. And I don't know if I really believe that's true. Sometimes what happens is you don't realize, you haven't realized your greatest potential yet because what would unlock your inner motivation hasn't happened. I know for me, in order to be motivated, I have to have a picture of where I'm going. I have to set a goal. I would encourage everybody to set your goals, no matter what they are. My goals today for Hercules were to lope without having to kick him. We got there relatively easy. Actually, the work that the owner's been doing is really working, and honestly, we didn't have much to deal with. But you know what we had to deal with is attitude. Now, surprisingly enough, attitude has a lot to do with motivation. If you sit around with the attitude of, oh man, I'm already defeated, I can't do this, I'm beat before I start, you're not going to get much done. But if you wake up in the morning and you say, you know what, I'm going to change my attitude because it's a personal choice I have that I'm going to make. And instead of being down in the mouth about it, I'm going to say, I can get this done, right? I can go and I can do this. I tell my children all the time, do not be easily defeated. That's the same thing as don't lack in motivation. Set yourself up and say, all right, here's my plan. Here's my goal. Here's what I'm going to do. And now here's how I'm going to get there. I'm right over here, and I'm at mile marker 10, and I want to jog to mile marker 20 today. So I'm gonna jog to mile marker 5, and then I'm gonna walk to mile marker 8, and then I'm gonna jog to mile marker 12, and then I'm gonna walk to mile marker 14. And you get the idea. You build a plan, whatever it is, whatever the goal is that you have. Then you don't get to that point where you feel overwhelmed. Instead, you start saying, hey, I can do this. And just like with him, with Hercules, we started out, if he walked forward nicely, I loved on him and told him how good he was. If he trotted forward nicely, I loved on him and told him how good he was. Now, I did whack him on the butt on the ground when he said no. But at the same time, once I was up in the saddle, every time he reached a goal, every time he reached a mile marker, and every time his attitude came up, I really poured on the encouragement and the praise. And I think that's a key element in what you're doing in dealing with motivation. If you're lacking in motivation for yourself, get a plan and then reward yourself when you reach it. Thank you so much for joining us again today. I have so much fun bringing these shows to you. We appreciate our fans and the time and effort you put into watching the show. If you have questions, make sure you holler at us, and until next time, may God bless the trails you ride.
Find out more about Ken McNabb Horsemanship at kenmcnabb.com.
That one true horse, the perfect partner built to ride. One true horse, a bond that cannot be denied. You would search forever just to have the chance to take a ride.